that it's not just his daughter, then he literally affected the entire culture to learn about stocks. A man who was just in prison. So when you come home and literally become a multi-millionaire off of stocks, it's a whole different world. So what I need y'all to do, I need y'all to take a minute. I need y'all to get on your feet. When I bring each of these individuals up, I need y'all to erupt with noise, not because of who they are, but because of you're going to be up there. Because you're going to be that same person. Every time I look at an individual achieving certain success, I look at them in their eyes and say, yep, I can do it.
Yep.
So when I'm clapping for somebody, giving an award, when I'm celebrating somebody, yes, I'm doing it for them, but I'm like, I literally put myself in their shoes. Yeah. Everybody, Law, up here, I put myself in their shoes. Every one of my mentors, everybody I look at, one of my buddies, Alex Ramosi, another dude, crazy, right? I literally watched him get this award. It was like a $25 million award. He said, I sent it a year later when we became friends. Why did you do it? I was inspired, but I had to do it simply because I knew it was going to become me. So what I need you guys to do, get up off your feet right now. I'm about to introduce my first brother. My first brother I'm bringing to the stage, man. Amazing entrepreneur. I call him the stock guru. I don't like the term guru, but he has helped more people that I know get into the game, getting one share at a time. I need y'all to get up off your feet. This man has changed so many lives. He never used an excuse. And he's been a big motivator for me. I'm happy to call him a friend, source, entrepreneur, all-around leader. Wall Street Trapper! If you trap and you say you're going to be a millionaire, I know you're going to be a millionaire. Let me start with this. We trapping. We trapping. All right, let me see something. I don't know. I know what it looks like. I know what it sounds like when the trap supposed to jump. You feel me? I know what it sounds like when the pot's whipping and the baking soda shaking and you got to put a little ice cube sometime to make it. All right, I'm tripping. Right here. If we trapping, if I know I got some millionaires right here, say we trapping. They got a little loud. They trap. I think they got some good work. Y'all got my plug or y'all plug? All right, bet. So check it out. If I know I got some millionaires right here, right? Like you gotta be committed to what we doing. Right? Like you gotta want the outcome so bad you don't care what it takes to get there. Right? You want to trap house to pump so bad you don't care what you gotta go through. So that means that we trapping. It's the ones right here. I got one more set of trappers over here. And I know they about me, yeah? So check this out. If you're gonna take a plug, because they don't know what to do with it. They playing with it, right? We got it, no cocaine. Okay, y'all know what that is. Okay, let me hear you say we trapping. We trapping. I like it, brother, man. Let's get it, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Let's go, man. Woo! My next brother I want to bring up, man. He's the definition of what I like to call product market fit. What product market fit is when you find the industry, you be one of the first to go in that industry, dominate that industry, and then you go ahead and teach so many people around the world. When you say trucking, everybody always say Alex good energy. Like I go on Instagram and I'm like, when you think about trucking, they're like, yo, Alex, right? This guy, man, been changing so many lives. I don't think there's not a person in the world that's helped more people become dispatchers and truckers. And the big purpose, I need y'all to understand. I got them here not to talk about trucking, not to talk about stocks, but how did you grow communities? How are you able to let everybody in the world know you exist and you become the leading authority in your industry, specifically for the culture? So I need y'all to get ready to make so much noise for my brother, Alex Good Energy.
How y'all feeling, man? God bless y'all, man. Good energy in the building, man. Anybody rocking me? Anybody part of the Good Energy family in here? Anybody part of the Good Energy family in here? Yeah, let's get to it. It's an honor to be here, brother. Let's get it, man.
Next up, man. This is my brother, man. I love this guy because somebody say big. Yeah. Somebody say big. Yeah. Yo, I'm gonna be honest, it was hard to get all three of them on the panel because they all stars. They want their own show. They're like, they knew arguing like, bro, why would you put? We need our own set, right? I'm like, no, they need to see how y'all was able to affect millions and millions and millions of lives and how they can follow a similar blueprint. But when I say the biggest, we changed his name from not him 500 but Big 500.
Yo, where recession proof at? I don't think y'all hear me. I said, where recession proof at? Ain't nobody getting in the bag in this community now that's not affected by recession proof. Ain't nobody helping nobody get money like Big 500. Ain't nobody else in the culture fucking with Big 500 when it comes to credit. When it comes to getting to the bag, and it comes to impacting the community and building the community. Recession proof again, where y'all at? Yeah!
Hey, give me those kids in here, y'all.
Wait a minute. How many of y'all attended the Best of Both Worlds?
Yeah!
So y'all understand the energy between me and
So man, real quick, once again, man, I'm so grateful to have each of y'all on the panel. And like I said, it's hard to get these events filmed. It wasn't really, it's just still, I think you do this, they're like, all right? But I all know they're their own, man, I all know that they just hold it down on their own. And that's actually one of the benefits of rooms like this, is because most people, y'all, you are that person for your family. But sometimes it gets exhausting. Sometimes it's a heavy burden on your shoulder where you got to make sure everybody's good. I say to them, like, you want to go out to the restaurant and you want to fight over food. You want to go anywhere and you want to fight, like you want to feel as though, no, it's my turn to do this. There's the type of people you want to be around, but the reason why I wanted to bring them here because they all amassed a huge following and they all been able to serve so many people at so many different levels, and I want to really hop in their brain, ask them some questions, have them share some of their key insights of how they did it, so you also can apply those specific strategies to what you got going. Is that okay with y'all? So I'm about to really get deep with some of the questions, not deep, but I want to just really ask them. So Trap, I'm gonna start with you, man. For you, spending, I think, over 10 years in prison, most people do not bounce back. I personally can count on it. One hand, we got a brother here crushing it, just got out. He just got out, killing it. And there's only a few people I know at a high level doing this, like you, like Wallow, like most people go back. I want to know, what was the turning point where you said, I'm going to go all in for one? I know you've been in gang banging, all type, not gang banging, but shootouts. You lived 1,000 lives. So I'm curious to know, how were you able to make the transition? How was you able to take over an industry like that?
That little girl right there, man. Like, that was a game changer for me. So I literally grew up without my pop and all that, right? Not to just get into all that, because we all got our story. But what happened was, you turned pain into purpose. You know what I'm saying? You start saying that I had to live for something that was bigger than myself. And so if everybody in here, you want to be successful at whatever you want to be at, I feel like you got to take yourself out of the equation. Because what happens is, when things get tough, it's easy for you to revert back to like who you are. Right? I wanted to like be like a butterfly. I wanted to kill the old me and give birth to a new version of me. Right? Because she deserved a new version of me. She didn't deserve the street trap. She didn't deserve that. Right? Because I saw that happen so many times, so many people in prison, you know, they see their kids come to jail and they crying. She didn't deserve that from me. Right? So for me, it was like, all right, how do I now say, let's think about this, you're a basketball player, you're a football player. The one thing Right? Because you practice forever just to play the game for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Right? You practice all day. So for me, when things get tough, I can say, if it's just about me, I'm gonna chill. But if I look at it and say, she deserves this, I'm gonna keep going. Because I never want her to have to go through anything that I went through. So it's definitely about my daughter, just having something way bigger than me, something I knew I couldn't quit on.
Your why.
That was it. And it's not even just a why, it's the purpose. Like, because we always use that term, this is my why, that's my why, this is my why. It's bigger than that. It has to be bigger than that. Right? So for me, looking at her saying, this is the next generation of me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do I want my last name to be when it's mentioned in the world? When I look at her, like, bet, this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
This how my last name is represented in this world.
Yeah.
So definitely that, man.
That's good. And it's so good. We upstairs, like she's sitting there laughing, like, y'all already got $1 million in her account. I'm like, she don't know what's going on. And I'm like, yo, how many people can imagine if you had $1 million in your account when you turn 18 and you also knew how to do, and you already knew what to do with it? Who's leaving that for your kids?
Hey,
And
right there.
position.
Woo!
Right. So Marcus, I want to ask you a question. You are one of my biggest, like, you want to do it the biggest. Like, you don't, there's nothing that I ever see you do small. Let me give you a disclaimer, right, about these two. So when I meet people, they introduce me to them. First thing I say, I don't got the Marcus and Alex budget. Don't even, because he want to do it the biggest in every area. It's never a thing that he's going to have stuff on. You think about one level, and he always like bigger, bigger, bigger. Like everything you think about, I got to be legendary. Where did you get that mindset, and what's some things people can do to just go bigger right now with their education business, with their doing? Like, do you learn go bigger? Like, what makes you go? I know you had it at your conference, like some people not being named yet, but it's gigantic. Like, what makes you go bigger? What makes you go spend millions of dollars just to be the biggest?
You got two different aspects of life when you say the biggest. So, we're talking about education over here, not my personal life, relax, brother. No, when it comes to education, right, wanting to be the biggest or wanting to be the best, it's not about trying to be the best or be the biggest, it's just trying to figure out how to outdo myself, right? And not just outdo myself is I lead by, my whole thing is I treat my business like a relationship. And I treat my business like a relationship, like a personal relationship. And I'm always looking at, yo, am I listening to it? How can I be the best person in the relationship? Because I know if you give your all to something and everything that you can think of how to be the nicest, of how to be the courteous, of how to be the most caring, charismatic, and that type of person in a relationship, like it's my wife, like, yo, I want to be the best. I want to figure out when we had our wedding, I want her to have the best wedding she could ever have in her life. Like, nobody can have a better wedding than you. I don't want you to ever be questioned, like, yo, somebody's, oh, my wedding was okay, but we missed this. Like, nah, I want everything. And when I look at my business, I feel like, yo, I got a relationship with everybody in the session group. And my position is that I want to give them the best. I want to give them the best. So I want to give them the best education platform. I want them to be a part of the best community. I want them to have the best experience. Why? Because then they give their best. Then they give their best to me. So now we have an amazing relationship. So when you look out, and if you always give your best, and you treat everything like a relationship, put your best foot forward at all times, and always be willing to pivot and grow, guess what happens? Life of masses, and we're here. So my thing is that it's not trying to be the best, it's just I'm always trying to put the best thing that I can think of, like, yo, what's the best that I can give to them? What's the best thing that I can deliver to be like, yo, this is it. And then once I do it, we gotta take it to the next level.
I think another thing to that too, Nico, is like always knowing that you could do more. Like I noticed that with Marcus, like me and him doing something, like we did 7 cities, 7 days. Another thing too is just saying, like I know what greatness look like. And there is nobody in here who has nothing more in them than I have.
Facts.
You feel me? Like all of us, we get up, we got the same 24. So for me and Marcus, just give an example. We didn't know what we was gonna do on the 7 cities, 7 days tour. We figured that all we had in our mind was, bro, let's go on a tour, let's impact a whole bunch of people, let's do something that ain't never been done for financial literacy. All we said was bet. We didn't think about how much it was gonna cost, none of that, right? We got to Houston, the first city, we just figured it out on the fly. We went to the back, we were like, okay, bro, like we can do this, we can do that. But what happened in that moment is I start seeing how he's spitting out game. And I'm like, oh, he's not about to outdo me. Not with all this game I got in my head. So now what happens is you got to find something that's going to bring that next level of you up. Right? So for instance, I like working out. Boom. But I don't like doing cardio. So what I went and did was I went and got a coach. You know why? Because he's going to make me do the cardio. Right? I know I can get on the weights all day. But the cardio, I do not want to do it. So trap. No, man, go do that. And I got to get a coach that ain't scared of me. You feel me? Man, go do the cardio, man. Right? Go do the cardio. I like that. So it's being able to find somebody that can make you tap into that next level of you. So I always use the term fear. Finally exiting average reality. Wherever level you're comfortable at, that's your average. Wherever you made a million, finally exiting average reality. Right? So that keeps you going. Right? So, okay, your goal is to make $1 million. Boom. What happens once you make $1 million? All right, cool. I only 5 million. What happens once you make 5 million? My goal is to impact 1 million people. What happens once you impact 1 million people? Right? So wherever your comfort level is at, that's your average. You gotta exit that to go to the next level. So I use that all the time. And that happened with me and Mark, not good, but that happened with us, man. Like, I'm not saying he was scared of me and I wasn't scared of him. But what happened was, we always say this, on that tour, nobody else could have did what we did. It had to be us two.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's good. So Alex, man, I gotta ask you, there's a few statements that I love, and there's one really about, and I want you to talk about that statement and how you really became #1 in the industry. It's, if you do what you need in your season, you know how to say it right, but I need you to touch on what does that mean? Because there's somebody right now, they're in their season, and I want this to be their forever, or somebody about to enter in their season, and I want that to be, we ain't going back. So you can touch on that.
So the phrase is, if you execute during your season, it can become your life forever. If you execute during your season, it can become your life forever. This is a phrase I was laying in my bed in the morning about 3 years ago, and I just thought about it. I'm like, yo, right now I got some momentum going right now. Right now the people rocking with me, my engagement is on the roof. They support your boy right now. They listening to me. I think about that song by Eminem, you only get one shot. You know what I'm talking about? When you get that window of opportunity, like you gotta step up to the plate. So a lot of y'all, man, you know, you're on your entrepreneur journey, might got a little buzz going on right now, and when you get that window of opportunity, it's what you do in that moment that will determine how the rest of your life is. So with me personally, man, when that moment came, and I realized like, yo, we got something going now, I was like, I gotta throw some gasoline on that fire, and I just kept my foot on that gas. You understand? So I've been in my season, I feel like, for the last 2 years. And I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I don't plan on ever getting out of my season.
Hey.
Somebody say it's my season.
My season.
You said something upstairs, like, basically when you stop, people are laughing. Why is it important not to stop? Because somebody gonna get to their 10 a month, and 20 a month, and 100 a month, and they gonna get like, ooh, let me chill, and you get laughed.
Absolutely. I said the only way that they're gonna laugh me is if I stop running. The only way they're gonna laugh me is if I stop running. So I'm gonna keep running. Even like, see, the thing is that you get so content sometimes when you see a certain level of success. My mentor told me, he said, look, don't count the wins from yesterday. It don't matter. Yeah. It don't matter if you had over 26,000 people sign up for your course. It don't matter if you created the first course in trucking. It don't matter. It don't matter if you spoke on the biggest platforms as a black man in the industry that's not black. It don't matter. Keep working. And man, like it's just so important that's why I'm so happy for my guys, man, because as soon as I get comfortable, I look over and I see these dudes flying in 7 seats on a PJ and selling out every arena. You dig? And man, if you execute during your season, it can become your life forever. So I just need y'all to understand, when you get that season, don't take it for granted.
It's their season though. Who knows your season?
And look, and I say this all the time, you gotta outwork and outspend everybody. You understand? Like at the end of the day, once the traction came and the business started popping off, and I realized, okay, now it's time to promote it and do the ads and all that other stuff. Listen, y'all not gonna outspend me in my industry. You're not gonna outspend me. When you, how many of y'all, when you get on your phone, how many of y'all are sick of seeing my face when you're on your phone right now? Right? I pop up on your ads. Raise your hand if you see my ads all the time and you sick of me.
That's it.
I'm sick of it. But listen, yo, it's a big boy budget, man. I'm not afraid to invest in myself. The most dangerous entrepreneur is the entrepreneur that's not afraid to invest in themselves. I'm not afraid to spin the bag to make sure that everybody knows me.
Let's
It
go.
knows what I got going on.
Let's go.
So I want y'all to do this. I want you to believe in yourself. And I want you to understand you got to invest in yourself. I just started balling out and doing all this stuff, buying cars, and I just started doing that. The first 5 years of my success, I was reinvesting into the business.
Yes.
Now I can ball. Now I can play a little bit.
Somebody say invest it all.
Invest it all.
Say invest it all.
Invest it
I
all.
talk to y'all. A lot of people in my circle, I be talking to them like, yo, I'm making, I see what they making. I said, you ain't spending enough. Like, Carter, what you spending on your house? 10,000 on mine, 50. Because you'll get comfortable making $250,000. That's great money. But I want you to make 500. So you got to get to that point where whenever you're making more, and again, it ain't about greedy. It's about me making sure my family good. It's making sure the next generation good. It's making sure everybody around you good. I want to hear from y'all. Trev, you've been amazing at community building, man. I want people to be able to go build their communities. All y'all been amazing with that. Give us a key that somebody can implement on building a community. So for me,
when you build into your community, give them everything you got. If you don't know it, if you can't give them everything you got, you don't know enough. Like, I started my community in 1997. Right? Travis Anonymous.
and when you say $20,
$20.
I want, right? Not 2,000.
Nah, 1997. But I was giving them everything I had. And so what happened was, they want to tell somebody else. I'm going to tell somebody else. Because I can't get this information nowhere. Right? And you got to be willing to keep growing. You can't get comfortable with what you know. Right? And then, like, I tell my community the L's I take. Like, we scared of, like, you being so much of an urge to be perfect, to what you're really doing is separating yourself from the people you're trying to build with.
Right.
Like, you won't be perfect. I don't make no mistakes. I know it all. One of the things I tell my community, look, yo, if you know something, like, tell me. I'm cool with it. What happens is, it brings back a paper of humility, and I can relate to Trap. I can talk to Trap. He looked like my brother, my uncle. So what happened? Every mistake I made, I was willing to tell him, but I was pouring it all into him. And now we got over 3,000 people, and now the community costs $47 a month. You know what I'm saying? We go down to get to 10,000, right? But you gotta be willing to pour in as much as you can, right? And when you grow, don't forget that when you're growing, there's other people coming in at the bottom level. So even when you get to the 12th grade, you gotta go all the way back to pre-K and coach them up too, right? So always be willing to bring everybody up, come back down, coach again. Keep pouring in, keep pouring in, keep pouring in. Because what's gonna happen is the more you pour in, the more ways you learn how to say what's 1 plus 1. You feel me? The more ways you get to say this 2 plus 2. You know what I'm saying? 2 plus 2 is 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. 5 minus this is 4. People need that. Everybody learns different. So learning how to communicate with my people, learning how to know who your audience is, know how to talk to them. Make them know that, yo, you're not empathy. Let me say this. This is perfect, and I'm gonna stop. Empathy.
What's the word?
Empathy. It is the greatest aspect that a leader can have. The more your people know you've been where they at, the more they gonna rock with you.
Right.
The more they know that, the more I go to New Orleans all the time, just to go home, go right in the hood and chill. And people are like, man, don't do that, it's cool. Like, I go there, I get $15,000 in gas giveaway in my hood. And then I love empathy, being empathetic. You know what it's like to have your lights turned off. You know what it's like not to have water. So you speaking your message, talk about that. Let your people know. As an entrepreneur, this ain't going my way. I lost $10,000 doing it, but guess what? I'm back at it. Alex saying nobody ain't gonna invest more in his industry than him. What he is saying too is he done lost money on some stuff. But they ain't gonna stop him from being who he is. So that's what I want to say about that, man. Build your community, be empathetic, keep learning, find different ways to say what's 1 + 1, and you're gonna build them up, I promise you. And you're gonna be like Apple. People gonna keep buying the same product over and over and over because you keep showing them, yo, start here, keep going. Start here, keep going. Start here. Why we keep buying Apple? They keep giving them the same phone. They got 2.something million. They got the biggest user base in the world. And we know that's the same phone. Don't we know that's the same phone? It's the same phone for the last 6 years for sure. But we keep on one little tweak. What they did, tweak the camera. So what you do as you build in your community, make a tweak. Yeah. Go back to square one, build it up. Make a tweak. Go back to square one, build it up. Grow. Remember that word, man. Grow. Grow, man. Just do that, man. That's what I want to say.
I'm gonna have all y'all hit and go out.
I love it. Love that. One of the hacks that I did to grow my community and really just to build, like, no pun intended, just to create good energy in my community. I love to celebrate my students. You know what I'm saying? Like, just giving that acknowledgement, like, yo, you executed. That was one of the biggest things I started doing about 3 years ago. So, like, even when we do our private call, we do a private Zoom call every month. I got the Facebook group. And even though, like, I let them kind of run the Facebook group and kind of, network with each other, but I'll be, like, spying on it and just seeing, like, the updates. They love putting what they did, right? So when we do the calls, I'm like, yo, I see Trap got his truck. I see Trap doing $10,000 a week this week. I celebrate them. Like, when they come down even posting on the gram, the content, I love posting content, I love giving game, but one of my favorite things to post is celebrating when my students achieve something. And another thing that helped grow the community, man, is just pushing that culture of iron sharpening iron. Like, I promoted that culture within the community, like, help each other out. I got to speak about truckers, that's what I do, right? So I always use this as an example. We got members from all over the country. A lot of members in Atlanta, we got members in Maryland. So I tell them, hey, look, if you're based out of Atlanta and your truck break down in Maryland, you might not have a mechanic in Maryland, but I guarantee you there's somebody in the Facebook group that got a mechanic in Maryland and they trust that they can refer you to. You dig what I'm saying? Yep. So I started promoting that mindset. And now they just, as soon as somebody got a problem in the group, yo, somebody know a truck dealership in Indiana. Oh yeah, you see what I'm saying? And it really I just promoted that. Like, I put the energy out that I wanted them to do, and now it's cool to help each other now.
Yeah, that's good.
So that was just like, it's one thing to have a community, but it's another thing to have a healthy community.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What you got on your mind?
You want the same question? That's something else.
Oh, you see how it is?
I'm gonna give something quick. Look, as you build a community, I was able to amass my community. I'm gonna give y'all a hack. Run ads in a certain city, right? Find content that works on your page, run it in a certain city, and when you see the engagement go, you can go to that city and do a free event and a pop-up and give out free games to people. You may get 10 people to come out, you may get 15 people to come out. I started in Chicago. I will always run ads in Chicago and Atlanta. That's why I have a strong market here, Atlanta and Chicago. Then I went to Philly, then I did New York, so I know my target market. So what I would do is run ads there that perform well, and then I would go to Chicago and be like, yo, I'm doing a pop-up, come out, hang out with me, and just get to know me. What happens is it makes it personal, right? So now you get to see me in person, because a lot of people be like, yo, internet dudes, man, they ain't real. Okay, listen, I'm in your city, you see my ad, you engage me, you follow me, but you question me because it's the internet. And we were taught to think that, yo, everything on the computer is bad because our parents didn't understand technology. So it's fake. Anything on the other side of that screen is fake. It's not real. Well, guess what? I'm in your city. I'm in your face. Ask me a question. I got the answer. So now they get to know me. So that's how my community started growing. And now we got 16 chapters across the United States.
Big 500.
We was going to Chicago and Atlanta to Trapper one day and took that to over there. 7 years I took over Chicago and Atlanta. So it was trapping out the band.
So what he's saying. But that's a hack. You got a good community.
That's a definitely hack.
But not the dope thing is going tour with Trap is that we got to see our reach.
Yeah.
I did get to see his reach. Like, yo, every city we went to, I didn't get to stumble. It's like, we can't even hear though. Y'all heard how loud recession group was. I didn't have to go to the left or right. I said recession group. What's the next question?
Wait, that's what we do. That's the needs of this relationship.
I stay out of their beef. I stay out of their
You know, they are literally crazy. So I want to talk about advertising. Tell me a little bit about what y'all spending the money on advertising and how's that working. Like, what's some things you've seen that been working for advertising, whether it be influencers, whether it be shout outs, whether it be organic, whether it be podcasts. I want y'all to give everybody a marketing hack or something.
It's not really about what you spend, because everybody's budget different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know somebody up here, he gonna spend $1 million all the dumb. You feel me? And I ain't
Gotta let
mad.
y'all go.
Right?
I'll be
But
back.
what I will say is, pain points make work better at times.